I'd love to hear a little bit more about your initial Bible studies when you were in California. You were telling me a little bit about that. Do you want to share about that?
Sure. Yeah, and I went down to California. Well, I visited California on business a number of times, and then my company sent me down there initially for 2 years, but it ended up as there 8.5 years. I didn't complain.
Okay.
And soon after getting down there for the 8.5 years, we met friends, people that became friends, and they invited us to a good church. And they also invited us to a thing called Bible Study Fellowship.
Okay.
So I was not a Christian.
Okay, at that time you weren't? Okay.
So I went to Bible Study Fellowship, and that's where I learned enough of the Bible to become a Christian.
That's amazing.
And it's an amazing study. It was put together by a lady called Miss Wetherell Johnson. She, I believe, was a missionary in China for 40 years. And then when she finished her missionary work, she settled in Oakland, California, and she started a Bible study with some ladies, and it just grew and grew. Anyway, you'd go to Bible Study Fellowship, and each week you would pick up.
So you still write very neatly.
You would pick up a lesson for the next week.
Right.
And that lesson is divided up into first day, second day, third day. This one, the whole of this study, is on the Gospel of Matthew.
Oh, that whole book?
Whole book,
okay.
Yeah. So you read a passage and you answer some questions. So your first understanding of that passage is what you get out of it.
Okay.
You don't use commentaries or any helps from anybody. It's what you get out of it.
Right.
Then once a week you get together with the rest of your group, and you're in a small group with a bunch of other people, and you share what you've learned. But you can only share if you've actually written down an answer.
Okay.
If you don't write down an answer,
yep,
you keep quiet.
Okay.
So your second understanding is what
group.
your classmates share. Then you all get together and you have a teaching leader, and he puts it all together in a message of about 30 minutes. And then when you leave that night, you pick up the lesson for the following week, plus some notes.
Right.
And you get about 7 pages of notes. And those notes are put together by Miss Wetherell Johnson and some Bible scholars that work with her. And they cover the passage you've just read, you've just studied. So the first is what you get out of it,
right,
what your class gets out of it, what your teaching leader teaches you, and finally, what you get from Miss Wetherell Johnson. So I did this nearly 50 years ago.
Right, and you still have it.
I still have it because it's so useful.
Okay.
The Bible Study Fellowship, I believe, is all over the world now.
Oh, is it?
So
is that right?
That's another avenue for getting into the Bible.